The story of America, from revolution to civil rights. Once upon a time across the Atlantic, a group of settlers arrived on a vast and untamed land, a place already home to millions of native peoples with ancient traditions, thriving villages, and sacred territories. In 1607, Jamestown became the first permanent English settlement. It was a fragile experiment, fueled by survival, ambition, and faith. Yet beneath its foundation lay conflict, with the land, with the natives, and soon within itself. As colonies multiplied, so did tensions. Native nations were pushed from their homelands through treaties, wars, and waves of disease. Meanwhile, ships from Africa carried enslaved men, women, and children across the Atlantic. The brutal slave trade that would stain the nation's future. The soil of the South grew rich on their suffering. By the 1760s, the colonies began to bristle under British control. Taxes, soldiers, and restrictions sparked rebellion. In 1776, they declared a radical dream that all men were created equal, even as slavery remained entrenched. The Revolutionary War, 1775-1783, forged a new nation, and the Constitution, 1787, gave it structure. But the founding ideals of liberty and equality would soon collide with reality. Through the early 1800s, America expanded westward, a nation hungry for land and power. The Louisiana Purchase, 1803, doubled its size, and the frontier surged forward. Native nations were forced onto deadly trails like the Trail of Tears, driven by the Indian Removal Act, 1830. As new states joined the Union, the question grew louder. Would they allow slavery or freedom? By mid-century, the nation stood divided. The Mexican-American War, 1846-1848, brought new lands and new arguments. When Abraham Lincoln was elected in 1860, 11 southern states broke away, forming the Confederacy. The Civil War, 1861-1865, erupted, America's deadliest conflict. Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, 1863, redefined the war as a fight for human freedom. In 1865, the Union triumphed. Slavery was abolished by the 13th Amendment, and 4 million people were free, in name, if not yet in life. Reconstruction, 1865-1877, tried to rebuild what war had torn apart. For a brief moment, hope bloomed. Black men voted, held office, and dreamed of equality. But by the century's end, Southern power returned with vengeance. Jim Crow laws locked in segregation, and Plessy v. Ferguson, 1896, declared separate but equal. The promise of freedom dimmed again. As the 20th century dawned, America transformed. Factories roared, cities rose, and immigrants poured in seeking a better life. After victory in the Spanish-American War, 1898, the U.S. became a global power. Then came the Great Depression, 1929-1939. Markets crashed, jobs vanished, and hunger spread. Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal offered hope and reform. When World War II, 1939-1945, erupted, America joined the fight for democracy abroad and emerged a superpower, victorious, yet divided at home. In the war's shadow, a new movement rose. Black Americans who had fought tyranny overseas returned to face it at home. The Civil Rights Movement began, a revolution without guns. From Brown versus Board of Education, 1954, to the Montgomery bus boycott, from sit-ins to marches, courage met brutality. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, and countless others faced fire hoses, bombs, and hatred, but never surrendered. Their struggle birthed the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, laws that reshaped the soul of America. Yet the story didn't end there. The nation faced the Vietnam War, the turbulence of protest, and the dawn of new movements. For women, for the environment, for love, for truth. The Cold War ended in 1991, but new challenges rose. On September 11, 2001, tragedy struck, changing America's course again. Wars followed, economies crashed, and protests reignited for justice and equality. Through triumph and tragedy, America's story remains one of paradox. A country built on liberty that still wrestles with it. Each generation inherits the same unfinished work, to make the words "we the people" mean what they promised long ago.